Today we're talking about concerns from international tourists about traveling to the U.S.
International tourism to the United States has taken a hit since the start of the Trump administration.
We're back now with a look at the drop in the number of international tourists who are visiting the United States this year.
At the start of 2025, Canadian tourism to the U.S. crashed by 35%, the steepest drop since 9/11. Social media is filled with images of near-empty flights, while border towns like Buffalo and Detroit are eerily quiet, their gas stations devoid of Canadian plates. Behind the silence lies a deeper problem: $30 billion in lost international tourism dollars since 2021. Analysts warn that number could grow six-fold by year's end. There's no pandemic to blame this time, just tariffs, inflation, and diplomatic spats turning the U.S. into a destination to skip. As Washington ramps up trade fights, tourists are turning away. The impact is visible across the country. Vacant seats on routes like Toronto to Chicago are common now, with flyers from Canada, the UK, and Germany sharing footage of half-empty cabins. The U.S. Department of Commerce confirms the trend. Western European arrivals plunged 17% in March alone, and total international visits could drop 9% this year, the sharpest fall since 9/11. The World Travel and Tourism Council estimates this could cost the U.S. $12.5 billion in foreign spending in 2025 alone. Security alerts and retaliatory tariffs are pushing travelers away. Europe's tourism board is advising against U.S. trips, and Canada has updated its travel warning, citing aggressive border questioning. Cities built on tourism are feeling the blow. New York cut its visitor forecast to 64 million, down 4.5%. International arrivals may fall over 6%, and hotel profits are slipping as costs rise. Las Vegas saw a 5.1% dip in visitors in April. Even Disney World, usually immune, is scaling back shows as crowd levels slump. Analysts warn of a vicious cycle. Fewer tourists mean lower revenue, which leads to cutbacks and worse experiences, scaring off even more visitors. If the current trade and visa policies continue, tourism's downturn could stretch for years, threatening over 15 million jobs. So far in 2025, U.S. tariff rates have soared to nearly 30%, 10 times higher than before the trade wars. This ripple hits travelers in subtle ways: pricier meals, higher baggage fees, costlier flights. A family trip from Europe now costs hundreds more than it did a year ago. Visa fees have jumped too, from $160 to $185, with a proposed $1,000 fast-track fee drawing legal scrutiny. Meanwhile, airlines are adding fuel surcharges due to tariffs on aircraft parts, pushing round-trip tickets up 12% in early 2025. But paying more doesn't mean better travel. Reports of intrusive phone and laptop searches at U.S. airports are growing, with CBP officers demanding passwords without warrants. Australia and Canada have updated their advisories, warning travelers to prepare for delays, questioning, and possible detention. The trade war has turned into a PR disaster. Canada launched Stay North, Spend North with 10% cashback offers. German agencies are pushing Mediterranean trips with Skip the States deals. Even Mexico, long reliant on U.S. tourists, is now targeting Canadians and Europeans with ad campaigns promising a visa-free vacation. The result: U.S. summer bookings from Latin America are down 14%, and European interest is at its lowest since 2008. The message from abroad is clear: visiting America just isn't worth the trouble. Every tariff meant to protect American jobs hits hardest in the very cities that thrive on foreign spending. As Western Europeans pull back, Broadway slaps a last-minute 30% surcharge on tickets, and Times Square shops watch "I Love New York" shirts gather dust. In Orlando, Disney World is losing nearly 3,000 international guests a day compared to last year, enough to cancel a daytime parade filing show. In Vegas, the $2 billion MSG Sphere hotel expansion is on hold, with Las Vegas Sands blaming falling international travel and tariff uncertainty. Tourism, once hailed as people-to-people diplomacy, now feels like a costly gamble. Tariffs and visa snarls have turned vacations into math problems, draining the U.S. of its allure. Without a diplomatic reset soon, the empty airline seats will keep piling up, each one an invisible tax on the U.S. economy. Commerce Department figures show Western European arrivals fell another 17% in March 2025, the worst drop since the COVID freeze. In NYC, foot traffic in Times Square remains 18% below 2019, and retail sales are still sluggish. Even the New York Post admits the city's tourism is dozing. Hotel bookings are down. Security checks at airports are up. Foreign visitors are bogged down at the border. At JFK, international terminals are ghost towns. Airlines are slashing prices, and Broadway's taking the hit. 17 shows shut down this spring alone. Smash, the musical, closed early with $20 million lost and no Tonys to show for it. And when Broadway dims, so does the economy around it. Vendors, drivers, and food stalls all lose business. Orlando's also hurting. After a record 6.13 million international visitors in 2023, foreign arrivals have already slipped in early 2025. If that drop continues, Central Florida could lose 1.2 million visitors, equal to the population of Dallas. A 10% drop in Canadian travelers has already cost the U.S. $2.1 billion and 14,000 jobs, with Orlando facing nearly 20,000 more part-time job cuts. Out west, San Francisco's conference sector is crumbling. 3 major medical and science conventions canceled their 2029 events, erasing over 100,000 hotel room nights. More than a dozen other Asia-Pacific events have followed suit, citing high costs and safety concerns. That's a $600 million loss. Jobs gone for over 8,000 workers. What's the common thread? International tourists spend 7 to 8 times more than Americans. Every foreign visitor leaves behind nearly $4,000. U.S. tourists, just $650. So even if airports are still busy, the big spending customers are gone, and with them, the profit. If tariffs, visa headaches, and border red tape aren't resolved soon, the $30 billion hit since 2021 could multiply 6-fold by year's end, taking thousands of seasonal jobs with it. Other countries aren't waiting. Canada's Stay North campaign is keeping billions at home, encouraging citizens to skip U.S. vacations. Border crossings from Canada have plunged 35%, the steepest drop since SARS in 2003. Air Canada has cut 4 U.S. routes for winter 2025 to 26, redirecting planes to Caribbean resorts. WestJet and Porter may follow. Europe's moving too. Lufthansa and Air France are slashing U.S. flights and shifting focus to Asia and the Middle East. French and German favorability toward America is at record lows, according to Pew. European bookings to the U.S. are down 10% for summer 2025, while trips to the EU, Canada, and Caribbean are booming. While Washington insists everything is under control, the numbers tell a different story. International visitors spend about $4,000 per trip, 7 times more than domestic tourists. So when airlines like Air Canada or Lufthansa cut back, it's not just airfare that's lost. It's hotel stays, Broadway shows, steak dinners, and service jobs that vanish with them. Canada keeping $9 billion at home, Caribbean destinations booming, and Asia drawing in premium flyers, all mean massive losses for U.S. tourism hotspots like Times Square, Disney World, and San Francisco's convention scene. Here's the twist. No vote is needed to weaponize tourism. A simple hashtag #StayNorth, or a few headlines about invasive phone searches can cost the U.S. tens of billions. As tariffs rise, other nations are quietly pushing back where it hurts, travel sentiment. And when Canadian and European travelers walk away, winning them back won't be as easy as dropping a tariff. Think of the tourism economy as a bucket. Domestic travelers bring a few pictures, but foreign visitors once poured in like Niagara Falls. According to U.S. Travel, each international guest contributes over $4,000, compared to just $650 from locals. Washington still has no answer for that widening gap. Worse, American households spend even less on travel. Only $926 a year on average in 2020. That can't fill the hole left by declining foreign arrivals. In March 2025 alone, international visits fell 14%. Each percentage point lost equals $1.8 billion. Stay on this path, and tourism losses could hit $21 billion by year's end. Pew data from 2024 shows U.S. favorability among European allies sinking to a 54% median. Border searches, visa hikes, and tariff disputes are making America feel more like a hassle than a dream trip. And it's not just vacations. Student exchanges are canceled, conferences rerouted, soft ties broken. The U.S. now faces a choice. Keep pushing tariffs and restrictions, or watch as $200 billion evaporates from the economy by the end of 2025, a sum equal to 3 years of the DOT budget, or 4 brand new airports. America's soft power used to be its tourism, culture, and openness, worth 7% of GDP. Now, that safety net is unraveling. The question is, will Washington step back from the brink, or let the U.S. quietly fade from the world's travel map?